Yeah, so we got a lot of back and forth between the players and the MLB this week, because the players they sent back their rebuttal proposal of 114 games instead of 82 games, with the season ending October 31st and the World Series extending past Thanksgiving, and that was just recently rejected by MLB. And I mean, I just want to touch on that a bit. I don't understand why they'd want to play that many games and go till the end of until November with playoffs. So you're going to play potentially baseball games like in the cold and the snow and all that stuff. Like, who's going to want to go to these games? Like, who's going to want to play them? I mean, more double headers they want to do, which would be great. I mean, but also might result in more injury, especially when the weather gets colder. The union, they want the players to receive about 70% of their salary compared to MLB's proposal, which was only like 23 to 47%. So that's a pretty big jump. I don't know why they can't find middle ground on this. Like, I mean, it seems MLB wants to pay a small percentage of their salary, and the union wants a gigantic chunk. The union is on par with a lot of companies that have reduced employee salaries by like maybe 30%. I know some people who have. But you know what, baseball players, their minimum salary is a lot more than most professions. I mean, most professions don't have $250,000 or $500,000 average salary. The players union right now is killing baseball, I think. They want to play more games, play in cold weather conditions, and get paid more because making a minimum of $563,000 isn't enough money to support a family, apparently. So MLB rejected that, and there's talk that they want to do a 50-game or a 40-game, 48-game proposal, something like that, with full prorated shares for the players' salaries. But 50 games, seriously, the baseball just cancel the season. Like, there's no point to risk players' health and safety over 50 games, especially if there's a second wave of the coronavirus and the season has to be canceled. So then what's the point? Just get rid of it. If we're not going to play 80 to 100 games, just close the season out. Just ignore it ever happened. Retool, remarket, and get ready for next season. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe it's foul. It's a shame that they're still in discussion at this point. It's already June and time's are ticking. From like 114 games down to 48 games. I mean, like, what is there left to discuss? There's already like a lot of options in place here, and there's a lot of options to play the season. Like, even though like you're playing past October and you're gonna play in the cold, like you can't possibly play in Colorado or Minnesota when it's absolutely like frigid by October or November. So what is there left to talk about?
It used to be in Minnesota until they decided to build a ballpark with its no dome.
and now they're back to a roofless stadium. So like it baffles my mind, my friend. There's so many options on the table. Like they still haven't ironed things out. It's such a shame.
I'd say proposal from the players' union's foul and MLB's is foul as well. I wish they could just like, I don't know why it's taking them so long to figure this out. Like NBA is about to announce that they've agreed to a deal too for some sort of shortened tournament or season. NHL already did. Like I don't know why it's because there's no salary cap, that there's so much greed involved with who gets the chunk of the money that it's killing everything. This sport is already like needs help. It needs a lifeline. And I mean, I don't know what they're going to do about it. But there's people that are doing positives, I guess, with what's happening these days. And I guess the Washington Nationals, they did a 180 and now they're deciding to pay their minor league players stipends or whatever it's called. A lot of teams have now done that as well. They followed the Nationals, which is good. You have the World Series champions who are deciding to do something about this, and that's the best way to lead the charge. So I give the Nationals a very big fair for what they're trying to do. Do you want to touch more on that?
Yeah, certainly they're doing the right thing here. From the Athletic, from Brett Rowley, the current reigning and defending World Series champion Washington Nationals, yes, reportedly reversed the decision to slash the weekly minor league stipends from $400 to $300. Once again, they'll pay the full amount of $400 per week through June. This decision came after certain national players like pitcher Sean Doolittle decided to pay for the shortages caused by the cuts to the minor league players. He feels that they are the heaviest burden right now of the situation as their season is likely to be canceled. So I thought it was a fair thing. Unlike what the Oakland Athletics, has made their decision. I think the Nationals um, did the right thing here. The minor league players, like their season is likely to be canceled, so definitely it's something of a great help for the minor league players there.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's MLB's proposals involve having extended rosters as well, so there would be minor league players who might potentially end up making the roster and getting called or whatever to play. But I know these owners, they definitely have money to foot the bill for minor league players. They just don't want to. I mean, the Oakland A's are one of the greediest, cheap teams in baseball. They have money, they just don't want to spend it, but they have money, to they definitely have money to pay $400 a week or whatever it is. I wish just this greed thing would stop, because we know how much players make these days, and we know how most owners, how rich they are. And I don't understand how all these billionaires and millionaires can't just get over themselves and their egos and think about the little things in life, especially minor league players. Minor league baseball players have some of the worst salaries, some of the hardest times trying to make a living. I mean, the majors, you make it great, but like if you're in the minors, it's tough times, man. Speaking of tough times, I heard our boy, good old Lenny Dykstra, Mr. Steroids himself, is in the news again.
Oh man! So this is from ESPN.
Yeah.
The former minor league player major league player rather, Lenny Dykstra, his defamation and libel suit was dismissed by New York Supreme Court Judge Robert D. Kalish. The ruling stated that Dykstra's reputation for unsportsmanlike conduct and bigotry is already so tarnished that it cannot be further injured. The lawsuit stemmed from when Dykstra sued former player and current broadcaster Ron Darling, and his claims made in his memoir, 108 Stitches, Loose Threads, Ripping Yards, and the Darnest Characters from My Time in the Game. Dykstra claimed that, Darling rather claimed Dykstra yelled racist insults to Red Sox pitcher Dennis Oil Can Boy during the 1986 World Series in Game 3, according to a published excerpt in the New York Post. Darling petitioned to have the lawsuit dismissed, citing that Dykstra's past legal problems, as well as comments made in Dykstra's autobiography, House of Nails, memoir of life on the edge, that led to the lawsuit dismissal. I mean, Lenny Dykstra has had some tough times in his life, and this is something that, his lawsuit is being dismissed. So at least that's less of a burden for him right now.
I saw some stories of people being interviewed talking about Lenny Dykstra being some sort of terrible landlord or something, and he seems to be not on the good end of baseball history. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about this story. I'd say this story is very fair to throw out this kind of accusation. What do you give it? Fair or foul?
I think it's fair. Like Lenny Dykstra has had some tough times in his life. In and out of his career. Like I said, this is a less burden for him, and hopefully he can turn things around.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments below.